Welcome to our quick jump. I'm Rich Bowers, and with me today is Charles Dunn, and we are going to talk about quality engineering with AI. So, Charles, why don't we dive right into it? What is quality engineering?
So the thing you have to understand about quality engineering is that it is a process. Quality engineering isn't like a single kind of discipline. It is a holistic approach to product development, or in our case, software development specifically, that seeks to prevent issues rather than finding issues in production than resolving them. It's about preventing bugs rather than debugging once an issue is found.
All right, so you basically gave me the answer to this next question, but just to drive it home, quality engineering versus traditional software testing. Are you saying that quality engineering is proactive where traditional software testing is more reactive?
That is definitely part of it, but traditional software testing is definitely a part of quality engineering. It's a subset of quality engineering. Software testing is designing test cases so that you know that the software behaves the way it is supposed to. It is very technical. It is very specific. Does this function have this output from given these inputs? Quality engineering is an engineering process around that, making sure that the developers know to write functions that are easy to test. That's a very small example, but it's more about how do you engineer your software development process so that things like traditional software testing are as effective as they can possibly be.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So now let's dive to our focus of why we're here.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence. When we're talking about quality engineering, what aspects of it would you say are primed for an AI impact?
I would say that out of all the aspects of the software development lifecycle, quality engineering may be uniquely well suited for transformation with AI. If for no other reason than the simple reason that it is terrible to do. Nobody likes writing test cases. Nobody likes testing software. Everyone wants to write software. No one wants to test software because it is a huge pain for the developers and it doesn't make money for the company. So these kinds of things. So these are the kinds of tasks that you should really be seeing where AI can be applied. The most basic level here for kind of AI with software testing specifically is writing test cases. Traditionally, you had to do that manually. AI can spit out edge cases, boundary conditions that can be tested almost immediately from a combination of understanding context and historical examples of where software has failed. So AI for software testing as a part of the quality engineering ecosystem, that is something that everyone in the industry is really excited about. It lets developers focus on the important and challenging aspects of software development, which is writing the software, and then the automation tools can make sure that that software is behaving correctly. And we also, of course, have some more high-level AI applications like process monitoring and logging of the behavior of a software in production so that those issues can be resolved as the development cycle continues.
Okay, I want to actually hit on something that you mentioned there. So everybody's looking forward towards the testing aspect becoming automated. And when you look at developers nowadays, they're also doing their own testing. So this is certainly a blessing. Are we looking at a decrease in quality engineers or quality analysts themselves, as in roles, due to AI, or are they now shifting to maybe testing the AI data?
So that's going to be an interesting development. That's going to be interesting to see because we're almost certainly going to see fewer people with the role of software tester.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty safe bet because the writing of test cases, the executing of test suites, the reporting of defects and bugs, all of that has traditionally been a fairly automated process, but now it can be automated with a machine rather than a warehouse full of software testers, metaphorically speaking. The thing with automation is that even if it takes direct roles away, often allows new roles to be created. Like a classic example is the ATM, the
Mm-hmm.
automated teller machine, where all the people who worked at banks were afraid that the ATM would take away jobs. When the ATM was introduced, employment at the banks increased because it turns out with all of the simple stuff being handled by a machine, people wanted to do more complicated things at the bank. So if we look at that metaphor in quality engineering,
Mm-hmm.
we can imagine that people who understand the process of quality engineering at a higher level, they are going to be more in demand as all of these low-level automation tasks being done reliably means that the higher level understanding of quality software preventing bugs is going to be more in demand, and we might see just an overall increase in the quality of software while employment in this field remains about the same, but the roles are probably going to shift.
It's going to be interesting, and I appreciate your response there. Kind of just the vision that I'm hearing here is the people who have a nice grasp on it, the experts, are going to be okay. We're going to be a little concerned about some of the junior level or entry level type of roles because the capabilities of AI. But when you're looking at quality, and maybe not necessarily quality engineering, but there are manual testers, there are automation testers. There may be some version of that kind of spikes off, I guess you could say, in this situation. All right, with that being said, then, Charles, any last words on quality engineering with AI that we should be aware of?
Testing is probably going to be done closer and closer to developers. When you have these kinds of like coding assistants, these co-pilots that you can simply highlight a function and say, write test cases for this, you don't need a dedicated tester to write all the boundary conditions. The machine can do that automatically. The code level of software testing is probably going to be more in the domain of developers moving forward, but the domain of quality engineering, that might become more important. That might become more of its own field as managing software development teams to be quality first. That's going to be more of a process problem than an execution problem.
Perfect way to sum it up. For our quick jump, I'm Rich Bowers. Thank you for being here, Charles. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.